All right. No, we're going to call the meeting and then it'll get going. All right. Today is February 17th, and I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order. All right. Up first, we're going to do our invocation by my dear friend and one and only Pastor David J. Butler, Faith Assembly Christian Church. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you bow your heads with me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, your word declares that unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. This evening we invite you to be the Lord again over the city of Destin. Build our community with wisdom, unity, and compassion. Watch over our beautiful people, our families, our children, and our leaders. We thank you for our strong military presence, our veterans and those who protect our freedoms, our law enforcement who serve with courage, our medical professionals who bring healing and comfort, our churches who stand as lights of hope, and our schools that shape the future of our city. Grant this council discernment, integrity, and hearts that seek the good of all. May peace rest upon Destin, and may your favor guide every decision made tonight. We humbly ask this as we speak your blessing found in Numbers chapter 6. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he turn his face towards you and give you his peace. Amen.
Thank you so much for that. Councilwoman Aber with the pledge, please.
Please join me with your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. I guess the food kept everyone around, so that's awesome. Whatever it takes for attendance, right? All right, with that, we'll get into the agenda approval. Is there anything that needs to be changed, modified, or updated?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Hold on, we have a couple changes.
Okay.
Oh,
I'd like to request that we could move 4J up to the top after the consent agenda.
Okay. After consent? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, and then I have two items to add. The first is an update on the state park at Holiday Isle to be added under city manager reports. That can be the last if you want.
Okay.
And then another item under city attorney reports. This is a call for an additional executive session. This will be in the case of Carissa Harbarger, Rainbow Frost Ice Cream, Ronald Ellison, and William Ellison versus City of Destin. And I'll give further details on that under my reports as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none, can I take a motion at this time?
I'll make a motion to approve with changes.
Thank you, ma'am. The second from Councilman Destin. Any discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. And then if we can get the screen up. Make sure I'm on the right one here. All right.
I vote yes.
Oh, there you go. There he goes. All right, ayes have it, so moved 4-0 on the updated agenda. With that, we'll go into proclamations, and we'll start with 1A, the work plan. City manager, or is that public works, public safety? Is that, commission, sorry, chairman, I'm sorry. Oh, you're standing right in front of me.
All right.
Thank you for being here, Chairman Wood.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council, for letting me come up tonight and talk about our Public Works and Public Safety Committee. So before I go on, I have one of my members, Andrea Ainsley, is in the audience here. And a special shout out to Mr. Joe Bodie, who I've been working with for almost 20 years on committees.
Bless your soul.
So we have a special relationship. Whether that's good or bad, we'll see. So first I want to talk about my results from my 2025 plan. Not an exciting year. We spent about $89,000. I think my report said 61. That was the 61 was the airport commons crossings for the linear park, or linear trail, excuse me. And the other were 3 rapid flashing beacons that are installed, 2 on Holiday Isle and 1 at Beach and Mountain. But those were encumbered under FY25 funds. So during the year, we got our new property maintenance code was adopted. All of our members completed our area reviews. We made all of our recommendations for things like road resurfacing, road striping, sidewalks. We spent a lot of the year talking about e-bikes. We're not done yet. But the county did have that county-wide forum on the 1st of October of last year. And coming out of that, one of our adjacent city managers volunteered to write the ordinance template, which has now been passed in one form or another in the city of Crestview and the city of Niceville. The one from Niceville is in the building here someplace being looked at. That's the one that my committee has now recommended to go forward. So whatever speed that moves at, we'll see how it goes. Just for your edification, too, both the House and the Senate and the legislature are looking at e-bike bills this year. So between what they do and what we do, I think we'll be covered pretty well. So the new FY26 work plan, so I changed over to the new goal and objective sheets this year. I argued last year about it, but Mr. Schmidt questioned me last year, so in deference to him, so they're done this year. Now, are they great? I'm not going to say they're great. I took the wording off the old ones and fit it into the new ones. Next year, I'm going to look at doing some consolidation, maybe some reorganizing a little bit. I've got 5 goals and objectives now. I might go down to 3. I started with 7. So I like to do a little efficiency if I can. We hope to get the new e-bike ordinance done sooner than later. And also all the standard things we do, the area reviews where we look at things like vision triangles, infrastructure in the area. One of the things I focused on, and it's kind of been a headache for me, is the CenturyLink and Cox Cable above ground boxes. In my neighborhood, I've got at least 2 on the ground and some others that are open to the weather. I can't believe that's right. And trying, after we turn it in, getting somebody to come out and fix it is, I had a tooth pulled today. It's like pulling teeth, all right? And then we also have before you tonight, and you know, we're doing such a much better job now having money set aside to be able to do road resurfacing and road striping. So now making those recommendations means more now because things are going to happen faster. So that's much better than what we had in the year that I've been up here. So, and we also have before you tonight a request for approval for 2 more rapid flashing beacons. Sometimes we're reactive on these. Sometimes we try to be proactive. Azalea and Melvin, and also Benning and Maltezos are both mid-blocks. Azalea and Benning are both major collectors by the LDC. And the Azalea Melvin has 2 school bus stops in the vicinity. And the Benning Maltezos, when the new DES port is opened up, there should be kids crossing there going to school. So we think those are good additions. We've had others on Holiday Isle, some in Crystal Beach, lots on Airport Road. We need to kind of spread the love a little bit, for lack of a better term. So, and those will cost about $20,000 for the 2 of those. That'll be out of my TRCF funds for the year. I don't know what else we'll spend. I don't go into the year looking to do so many lights or so many speed humps. If we find issues, we try to apply the appropriate fix to those. And of course, those things, when you do them, cost money. But then at the end of the day, I don't care what you do, infrastructure-wise, ordinance-wise, education and enforcement end up ruling the day. So hopefully, as we get everything done and get all those education parts done, enforcement done, then we should have all the effects, I think, that we're looking for. So otherwise, I'm full up, 7 members, and we're all engaged in the process. And I think we're working pretty well together. So it's up to your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Councilwoman Trammell.
Yes,
Did you want a motion on the flashing lights?
Is it coming up?
It's up next as
Okay.
a separate item for the flashing 2 locations. But if we
you
want to
wanna
roll
do it,
right
I'll take
into
one.
it.
I'll be glad to make the motion for the flashing lights. I happened to be on the street when the bus was unloading at Maltezos and Benning. And it loads right where they want to put the flashing lights, right there at the street.
Amazing.
So I think that's an excellent opportunity for us. So I'll be glad to make the motion that we
I'll second it.
implement those. Two.
All right, I have a motion and a second. My only other discussion is more of a kudos. I've had probably a dozen Miramar Beach residents reach out to me thinking, oh my God, we need these rapid flashing, thinking that we unfortunately can't help them. They think we can. And they go, oh, wouldn't it be nice to continue it on? And I was like, it would be. It's like, well, what can we do? I'm like, you got to go ask your county because we are rocking and rolling over here in Destin. I'm sorry we can't help, but here's your county liaison, I guess. But people in different counties are taking notice to what you guys are doing. So we really appreciate what you're doing for us.
And for those folks that are either here in the room or maybe out in TV land, your Public Works and Public Safety Committee meets in this room the second Tuesday of each month at 5:30. So if you have issues, come see us.
So Councilwoman Hebert.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank you, Jim, for your years of service to this city and the amount of information that you keep us updated on, but also just pushing forward so many wonderful safety opportunities to help our city, our citizens, and especially the kids. So thank you for all the work you do to get stuff through and get it to us so we can approve it and put it into action. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilman Schmidt.
Yes, thank you. I asked staff if they could pull up the development order on the townhome property off of Azalea. Did we find out if they did everything on that parcel? Any follow-ups on that?
Apparently, we're still following up on it. We did check on it, but I'm seeing that.
The inquiry was that the development that was put there had a number of things that we told them they had to do when they developed those homes.
Okay.
About lighting, about benches, and things like that.
Good.
So I want to confirm that there's nothing missing in regards to safety. I'm all about that one that you're wanting to do, but I also want to make sure that if they closed out their DO, that they were also supposed to do what they said they were going to do. So.
And I don't know the answer to that question. I
Right.
wish I did. So.
Correct. And then the only other thing I asked them to mention to y'all in the future is a little bit north on Beach, there is a crossing section without a stop sign. That, as they open up the elementary school section, that's another one that you really need to keep in mind sooner than later.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure you're going to get some requests to do one more probably there.
We'll take a look at it next then. Okay.
Because that's,
not a problem.
it's an actual crossing section. So.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Sounds
And
good.
my last, more of a comment / partnership for us later this year. Part of that, the TPO that I know you're very well of, there is a 1 mile, 2 mile radius since you can't get on a bus if you're in 1 or 2 miles of your school. And so there is some new funding for making sure that every pathway and safety mechanism's there. So kind of something I would love to work with you guys. If you see any gaps of sidewalks or kind of rapid flashing beacons or anything of those kind of mechanisms, we might be able to go and again, multiply our dollars out through the state and grants funding. So
Is that Safe Routes to Schools funds?
yeah, there it is. Yep, I'm sure I knew you were aware of it
I'm aware of
already.
those,
Yep,
no problem.
Awesome. All right, with that, I have no other discussion, so we'll call the vote on the 2 rapid flashing beacons through our Public Works and Public Safety Committee. All right, thank you guys so much.
Mr.
All right,
Mayor.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir.
Just to make sure we're doing the things right, I want to also move that we approve the committee's 25 annual report and 26 work plan as presented.
Thank
I'll
you, sir.
second that.
We got a motion, second. Thank you so much. No discussions. Seeing none, we'll do a lot of order, but we'll call that.
I say yes.
Here we go.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you,
There
Mr.
we
Mayor.
go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
There you go.
All right, ayes have it, so moved. All right, with that, we'll get into the public comments, and I'll start on my right side and move our way left. So this gentleman up front. What's your name?
God, it's old. My name is old. It's been around a while. It's Mike Buckingham, 510 Calhoun Avenue. Y'all, thanks for having me up here. There's 2 quick things that have been brought to my attention that is very close to me, and it's children. And I know that it's been brought back to my attention that you guys are still in negotiation, the city's in negotiation with the property by the Little League field to purchase for a parking garage or parking lot, but we still have not done it yet. I guess it has to do with pricing. I personally feel that, I think most of y'all know me, if it's a money issue, we can raise some money. I'm willing to write a check for $5,000 right now just to get the ball rolling, to get this going. In my eyes, the Little League, anything we can do for the parks around here, the elementary school, you know, those are our community future leaders. You're a perfect example, Bobby. You know, look, I don't think the Little League was there when you were a kid, was it? No, I didn't think so. But anyway, with that said, you know, I know for a fact that Rodney did. Rodney went to and played Little League, and it just goes to show that those can be our community leaders. So whatever we can do as adults to keep them off the street and provide for them, I'm here. I want to support it. So I'm willing to write a check, and I'm sure we can raise some funds if we need to, no problem. But let's not let that go. Let's find a way to find that property, and let's put a parking lot there. We need it, okay? Number one. Number two, real quick, elementary school. Once again, kids, parents. I was one of them back in the day. I remember Bobby being walked across the street there. Or his brother, I'm sorry, your brother and your sister. But, you know, I keep hearing next year that they're going to have parking, easier parking, blah, 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 blah. And it kills me to see parents trying to get their kids to school. They get, what, 20, 25 minutes to get them in there? I think is what their time frame is. You know, and you got to wake up little Johnny and little Susie, get them up early to get them to school. But now somebody put a bunch of 4x4s up and down the road so parents can't park to take their kids to school. I get it. I've been here since 84, 85, and people's parked there a long time. So I've had a lot of phone calls myself. Mike, you know anybody who can get these things removed so we can get our kids to school? Will y'all please think about removing those 4x4s? It's short term, for God's sakes. It's only short term. If it's going to fix next year, why in the heck would we spend that kind of money and upset everybody, including me, over a bunch of damn 4x4s? So you don't want somebody to park on the side. Give you something to think about. I sat on the Harbor Committee for 18, 19 years, and we have talked about parallel parking along our city right-of-ways in the harbor for years, and it's getting closer. I understand we're going to do that. Right, Sandy? It's been talked about. So if we own the right-of-way. The right-of-way that I'm talking about with the 4x4s has already got base material. Why don't we come up and hack staff to come up with a way to design some off-site parking right there, some parallel parking, and allow them to do it, for God's sakes. It's not like we don't have the sheriff's department there. They're there every day watching. It's only 2 times a day, hour in the morning, hour in the evening. I'm done talking, but please think about getting rid of those 4x4s, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I got you.
All right, my name is Ricky Lynn Grant Jr., 175 Main Street, General Delivery, USPS, Destin, Florida, 32541. And I'm stuck in a pickle because I actually live in the Milky Way galaxy, not Destin, Florida. So I wish I could live in Destin, Florida, but I'm not a homeowner yet, okay? So I'm trying to be a homeowner. So I may go back to Tennessee, or I may stay in Florida. I don't know. I love everybody here, but I live in the Milky Way galaxy. There's last time I checked in the Atlas, there was 275 million people in North America. 275 million neighbors. So I got a lot of people to meet. So maybe I could go to the federal level instead of the city, state. Maybe go see the Trump administration. I got to get some questions together, though. But, yeah, trying to be a homeowner, so maybe the city of Destin, maybe y'all kind of finalize everything on the FHA, and then hopefully everything goes well with these business partners. They're going to keep negotiating. I say play ball, you know what I mean? ESPN, NFL, you can catch me on First Take, Get Up, Unsportsmanlike in the mornings. Starting at 6 a.m., I cover all those sports. So I say play ball, definitely play ball and compete where you can compete. But please don't put a steel-toe boot, you know. Anywhere in my vicinity, people like to put a boot in here. So if you're going to compete with me, just play some ball, use your sportsmanship, and people make me nauseous. They call me on the phone and they make me nauseous when they want to play ball against me. So just keep that in mind. I'm getting old. I'm 38. I ain't no cowboy like I used to be. I used to get out there and sling, be a gunslinger with everybody. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to be a gentleman now and retire in peace. So I can't carry the weight of the world. The Milky Way is a very large place. So hopefully you can make it through this pickle. I always say this is the gates of heaven. I just come here to keep knocking. Hey, can I get through? Can I get through? It's one of my stops on the path, on my path. And this is it for me. I went out there, I fought bravely, I fought bravely, and I've completed my mission. So I wish everybody well, and go America, like you said. I think you're a good mayor, and y'all are a good council. So if you guys can open the gates of heaven and let me in, like the pastor said, then there's strength in numbers, and the aroma pleasing to the Lord is good food. So rock on.
Appreciate you being here, Ricky. All right, up next. Yes, sir.
Jeff Reese from Keller. Two things. One, 2 meetings ago, they discussed the speed limit at school zones. And it was said kind of jokingly, well, if you get hit at 30 miles an hour, is it really any difference than if you get hit at 25? So I actually looked it up. In 2022, there were 712 pedestrian non-suicide deaths of children. Children have a less likelihood of mortality because adults have other problems. If you get hit going 23 miles an hour, your chance of death is 10%. If you get hit at 32 miles an hour, it's 25%. So there is really a difference. The second thing is, after we went to the county meeting today, and at the very end, the head, Mr. Palmer, he basically, paraphrasing, said, this Noriega Point belongs to the county to enjoy, not just a few people in Destin. So I don't think he's going to play ball, would be my guess. I don't know any of the legal stuff, how to fight it, but he also kind of implied it's really just a few people that organized a lot of people. He made it sound like there's really not that many people interested in it. So I feel that we even need to get more people to go to the meetings and show them that there is a lot of people. And obviously we need to vote these people out. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan? Play nice.
I am nice. It's just the truth. People sometimes think the truth's ugly, but it doesn't have to be nice. It's just the truth. Gunslinger 2 here. So I get up here. I want to read y'all something today. So in that, I wrote this letter, and because y'all's email's so jacked up, Larry, where I can't just copy and paste, and I didn't want to get into y'all's system, so here, fix that. Esteemed members of the Senate, and I sent this to everybody in Florida, every leader, every Democrat, anybody I thought would grab hold of it, the governor, it don't matter, FDLE. I am a conservative Republican pointing out what obviously needs an investigation. The public meeting and the 4 attached videos outline people in my own party who are clearly involved at felony level deception of public funds. In my opinion, all parties, Republican and Democrats, and state leadership should want this investigation to ensure the protection is made of future funds. There were severe violations of procedures and fraud upon the people, and I don't care if they're Republican, Independent, or Democrat. If they played any role in this process, they should be investigated. Alan Osborne, retired Army Air Force Major. So I'm fed up. Y'all gonna have to play harder ball. No interlocal agreement. If we have to, look, the state ain't gonna get in the middle of this fight. And I'm ready to file my code violation, and I think a code violation should probably be on the person who caused it, not who currently owns the title to it, but I'm gonna wait for your counsel and Larry to advise me on what the code really means before I file it. But listen, we went there today and Palmer bucked up on every one of you guys. Now, Dewey, you're going to have to admit, he's in the middle of a bunch of crap, and you're going to have to bail off of him, son. Get off of him. Don't support him. The only way we'll ever change America is when we stop putting up with this kind of garbage. Okay, so I'm gonna get on Drew. He was arrogant, cocky, and twiddled his fingers like he don't work for us. He don't make no money. He spends our money. He works for us. Okay, that was arrogance in action today. I hope that you won't want an interlocal agreement. I hope you'll push to the point that the transfer goes from the state directly to you. You are on, because an interlocal agreement can disappear with their next election and we're right back in it. We want them out of it, and we want enough pressure on those commissioners that they realize that Drew brought them a pig in a poke, as we call where I'm from. You don't want that. So this is what corruption looks like, and yes, it's in my own party. This wouldn't be tolerated in the federal government, would it? And we wouldn't do business this way with bidding and stuff. We'd go to jail. Okay, so anyway, that's my public comment. I urge you, if you're going to fight, fight now. Don't fight after you've lost. Fight before the battle's over and take it to them. Thank you, Alan Osborne.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. For the record, I'm Joe Fitzpatrick, primary residence at 3879 Indian Trail, and also own the adjacent parcel. I spoke at the last council meeting regarding the stormwater discharge impacting my property. Since then, I've met with the mayor, City Manager Jones, and also Rob Tomasek. I appreciate your time and willingness to meet to discuss the issue. At the last meeting, council did ask to be kept apprised, so I'm here tonight to provide an update and request clarity on the city's position regarding this issue. To ensure council has a clear understanding of the issue, I believe you have a one-page brief overview that I submitted, and I would also like to have placed on the record with my comments this evening. In summary, the city has installed and maintains a stormwater system that collects runoff from more than 90 parcels, homes, and adjacent airport infrastructure that directly concentrates stormwater discharge to my parcel. This occurs without a recorded drainage easement and has resulted in ongoing flooding, erosion, and measurable loss. The city's own stormwater management plan identifies this engineering system and clearly shows this outfall position directly at my property line. In the image I provided in the handout, I've annotated green arrows, which represents the directed flow from upstream parcels. This is not hypothetical. This comes from my own extensive research, from public city documents, city council meetings over the years. And those documents I'm more than happy to make available to the council. The red arrow marks the terminating outfall. The city installed head wall with the expected outfall once it makes its way to my parcel to somehow do whatever it wants to make its way to the bay. Photographs of some of that infrastructure and its location are also included for reference. Concentrated stormwater discharge creates foreseeable impacts that only become measurable over time. With that understanding, it's a reasonable question to ask, when the city engineered, maintains, and continues adding to that system with an outfall placed directly at my property, what was the expected outcome? My purpose tonight is not to debate or assign blame. I have laid out relevant facts in my prior meetings and felt it was necessary to provide additional context for all the council members as I speak here this evening. What I'm asking for tonight is clarity from council and direction on how I should move forward. I have one simple question. I'm asking for guidance. Does the city contend to bear no responsibility for the stormwater discharge once it exits the head wall and enters onto my property in the absence of a recorded drainage easement? If the city acknowledges responsibility, are they willing to financially participate to address the loss sustained to date and to implement corrective measures necessary to prevent additional loss in the future? If the city's position that it does not bear responsibility for this discharge, will council commit to expedite permitting and practical engineering approval so that I can proceed with corrective measures to restore and preserve the property's usability and marketability without delay. I'm seeking a clear and definitive position this evening from the council so that roles are clearly understood and corrective action can be taken without delay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Curtis Gwynn. I live at 4 Wiki Wachi Circle, and I can spell it for the last 40 years. Anyway, I'm here to speak on behalf of the Destin Little League and the opportunity to buy property to put parking over there. From what I understand, I know it's been back and forth, but got my grandkids here and you know, a little history. I used to coach over there when this guy was this tall. My business partner, Ray Schutz, who, you know, y'all know, Ray helped Dalton Threadgill get that started over there and coached for 30 or 40 years. Ray and I actually donated and built the concrete block restrooms that are out behind the outfield. So I still go over there all the time and watch the grandkids. Kevin, the guys that run the Little League do a fantastic job. It's you know, the pay's not real high. They do, you know, they put in a lot of time over there, and it's just great to see the, you know, the kids of Destin over there enjoying the park. And if you've ever been over there, if you hadn't, try to come over there on Little League night and try to find a spot to park. I mean, it can get dangerous. You got kids running across the road and this, that, and the other. Thank goodness nobody's ever, that I know of, has ever gotten hurt over there. But we buy property on the beach for, you know, citizens, and most of the time, a lot of the tourists are the ones that use it. Let's buy property to help the children and the kids in the city of Destin. And, you know, if there's anything I can do to help or do whatever, I'll be more than happy to do it. But I think it's a worthy cause to take care of that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Just hit that gray button, it'll turn red. Name and address.
Christina Stevens, 702 Spring Lake Drive, Destin. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here regarding a code enforcement lien of $82,000 related to a permit closeout and swale completion. I respectfully request full removal of the lien.
You can barely hear you.
Oh, sir. 82,000 for a lien.
Yes, $82,000 for a lien. I'm trying to get that removed. I did not ignore the city or willfully violate the code requirements. I was out of state when the work was performed and relied on contractors who misrepresented the permit requirements. I was later scammed by unqualified workers, which caused significant delays while I worked to correct the issues. I was told by the city code enforcement officer that a daily fine would not be charged, and I relied on that in good faith while continuing towards compliance. I'm a 100% disabled veteran. The swale's been completed. I'm requesting a re-inspection. I cannot afford the permit fees at this time. I'm trying to get those removed. I was not aware that the lien was recorded until a title search. And I'm just asking you guys to review it and see if it can be removed. And thank you for your time.
Kim, what's the process?
Yeah, so this is the first time hearing about this one, but we do have a process where you can apply for a reduction of the lien if the property is in compliance. So what we would need to do is have someone inspect the property and determine the compliance, and then if you can talk to us, we will get you on an agenda formally. And the reason we do that is because we put a copy of the lien in there, get the city council all the details of what happened, kind of like what you did, but also to confirm it on our end, what happened on our side, who showed up at the hearings, you know, and so on. And then the council can review it and decide whether to reduce the lien anywhere from 0% to 100% or anything in between. Okay, so if you could give us a way of contacting you, or have you already talked to anyone on staff?
Noelle Bell, I've been talking with her.
Okay, and what was your address one more time?
702 Spring Lake Drive in Destin.
Okay, that's the home with the lien on it?
Yeah.
Okay, I will talk to Noelle and we'll reach out to you to set it up. Do you have any immediate time concerns where you can't wait for another meeting?
No, I was just trying to get this.
Understood, you got it started. Thank
Okay,
you.
Awesome,
Thank you for being here.
Hey, my name is Leslie Schmidt. Ma'am? Pull it down? Okay, my name is Leslie Schmidt. I'm a resident of Destin, and I'm going to cry. I don't know, I'm going to cry. I'm so proud of our town, and I'm so proud of the Threadgill Park, and I just want to say that yes, we raised Kevin and Paul and David and Abby. We raised the 4 kids in that park, and I'm so thankful that the city has an opportunity to do some wonderful things, and I want to be a part of that. I want to continue to be proud of good changes and things that will continue for the grandchildren. You know, now I'm seeing my grandchildren like Curtis, you know, we're seeing the grandkids play up there. And I just am excited and just hope and pray that this will come about. I know we travel around a lot, and I've seen some beautiful parks out there. And I tell you what, Threadgill is just beautiful, and it's even getting better and better. But we need this. I've practically parked in the sewers before on the side of Calhoun, and it's kind of dangerous out there at night when you don't have any place to park. So I just am grateful and thankful for this timing, and like Esther says, you know, for such a time as this. And so let's grab a hold of it and just praying for good things. So, all right.
And for some comic relief, your chickens are doing great.
My chickens?
Yeah, they're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no, she had a lot, and we needed a few more big girls who laid eggs. Anyone else, public comments? There's my public comment. All right, with that, we'll close public comments at this time, and we'll continue to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as is.
All right, I hear a motion.
I'll
Do I hear a
second.
second? With a second, any discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote on consent. All right, ayes have it 4-0, so moved. We will go into the alternate agenda and take up 4J first. Councilman Schmidt, or who's taking the lead here? Yep,
Okay?
Dr. Jones.
This is regarding 446 Calhoun. As you recall, at the previous meeting, we were asked to engage the new owners of that property and determine what it would take to buy it. We did some calculations and offered them a 10% return over a period of time, which equated to about $416,000. They paid $400,000. That was rejected. Said their price was $450,000. We countered at $435,000, and they continued to say their price was at $450,000. So that's the last offer that we've gotten from them, and that was from them their final offer. So that's what's before you this evening for your consideration.
All right, with that, Councilman Schmidt.
Yeah, thank you. I'll go ahead and make the motion to move to authorize the city manager and city attorney to prepare a contract for the purchase of 446 Calhoun for a purchase price of $450,000 on the condition that the property's future land use and zoning be changed to recreation prior to closing with permission of the seller and property owner.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. Furthering the discussions. Councilman,
say something.
oh, yeah, Councilwoman Aber, and then Dustin.
I just want to find out real quick from Crystal, what's the funding and how will we manage what we can get for the purchase of that? Are we in arrears on any of the purchase opportunity monies?
So the council has received the funds available to program, and so I'd recommend that the council members review that again with the restrictions. We have some 2024 loan money left over because the Crosstown Connector expenses came in a lot lower than anticipated. So that would be one of the options. If we are going to dedicate this truly to to parking. There's also funds available in the parking fund. And yeah, those are the two top funding sources that I'd recommend.
And that's what I was hoping you were going to say, because I knew we were trying desperately to make sure we moved parking for parking and those monies that came in for parking. And so, City Attorney, what's the prognosis of moving this before closing to a parking, that it would be recreational?
Moving the money?
Doable as entitling, changing the code.
Per his motion.
For the motion to change it
The
to
zoning.
the
Yeah.
zoning.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We've already spoken with the seller about that, and they did agree to put that condition in the contract, so that is what we would do. Then we
Okay.
would start having those public hearings, and the public would have an opportunity to participate.
Right.
Councilman Destin?
Having trouble hearing all the financial part of it. Crystal, did you say we could use some of the monies that we have in the parking fund, since this is parking, in your opinion?
That's correct.
And how much do we have in that fund?
We currently have 2.7 million of available funds to address parking needs.
Okay, and we had done an estimate on what it would take to actually put the parking in. Do we remember what that number was? The purchase of the property is just part of it.
I don't currently have any estimates for the parking. We'll have to look back into that.
Okay.
If I remember, we did talk about it, and it was almost the same price as the
Yeah.
cost of the land,
That's-
$480,000 to create that lot, from what the engineer was saying, as well as the
Robert, I have
graveling.
your notes if you want me to read off your notes.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead,
that's
Bobby.
correct.
All right, so, a bunch of, I appreciate the napkin math. I'm a napkin math guy as well. It's 588,000 total. That's with a 20% contingency. So the sub is 490,000, 20% contingency of 98,000, bringing us a total of 588,000, all in with that 20% contingency.
And so that is just a little short of $1 million to get the whole thing put in. And we have 2.7 in the parking fund?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
And I'll throw my little comments of the citizens of Destin do not pay a dime for parking if they have their parking pass. So first and foremost, go get your parking pass if you haven't.
Because we're going to make it paid parking.
Oh, we are? Okay, good. All right, with that, I see no other discussion, so I'll call the vote. Ayes have it 4-0. So moved. Awesome. Good deal. I was hoping I was going to vote on that, but I'm glad we didn't have to. All right, with 4J aside, we'll go back up to 4A. Dr. Jones. Oh, yeah. And if you guys do want to exit, I know that was a lot of people's kids' stuff, so no worries. No,
You
by
can
all
take 'em.
means, I get you. I mean, listen, this is your house. We're just doing work in it.
Take the little people home. We know it's getting close to bedtime.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. All right, thank you guys. All right, while that's rolling, just eat the mic a little bit and we'll keep rolling.
All right, we'll try to talk fast and loud. Item 4A is regarding the Destin Fire District Beach Safety contract. If you recall, the last time we addressed this, we were asked to do two things, and that was have a conversation with the fire district regarding the force majeure language in the contract, and if it could, in the event that it kicked in for greater than 7 days, that they would entertain the ability to reduce some of our charges, and they've agreed to do that on a as needed basis. When we get into one of those situations, we'll be glad to take a look at it. The other was, and so that's in the contract. The other was to utilize their lifeguards kind of as eyes and ears for code. They were not comfortable with that. We had some conversation about inserting the term for egregious violations. Their legal counsel was not comfortable, and that there was no definition of egregious, so that part was left out. So what you have before you is the contract with the force majeure language and not the provision to help code compliance.
All right. With that, do I hear a motion or discussion? All right, Councilman Destin with a
Second.
motion. Ray, whoever you think got it there first, with a motion and a second. Any discussions? All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, 4-0. Man, much better with 4 councilmen. No offense to the other guys. We love their opinion. Oh, man, that's a lot easier. A lot less to juggle.
Pontification's not here.
You asked the financial questions for them, so it's all good.
That's right.
All right.
Item 4B is regarding the fee schedule resolution, and there's I think there's 3 things going on here. One is to correct some language regarding permit reinspection fees. There's a table there that reflects what statute allows those charges to be, and then there's some language that says that anytime you have to have a reinspection, that fee would be twice the subsequent or the previous inspection fee. So those two kind of conflicted with one another. So we're suggesting that in this approval that you would remove that language and that the table that is reflective of statutes be included or remain. There's some language regarding making sure that we're collecting on all opportunities for credit card service fees and sales tax. There's maybe an instance, particularly in the parking side, where that wasn't happening, but that allows us to do that. And then as we move forward with the last parking, the idea of having some dynamic parking fee structure where during the non-busy season or the non-season, which would be November 1 through February 28, that we could reduce fees. What's before you is a reduction of the $15 fee, daily fee to $10. We can certainly go to $5 if council would like that. And then where it's the $20 for 4 hours, that would be reduced to $3 an hour per the language. And that the city manager would be the one that would have those conversations with the contractor to adjust those fees as we move out of season. And then there's some dates in that off season that we think the maximum fees would be appropriate. Thanksgiving weekend, New Year's, and those type of things. As it stands, it takes the $20 for 4 hours down to $3 an hour, the maximum of $15 down to a minimum of $10, and the city manager making those determinations at the end of the season. Any of that is certainly up to your discretion. But those are the changes that are being considered in this motion.
All right, thank you for that. And with that, do I hear a motion? Councilwoman Aber.
I'll make the motion to approve, as Larry read it. I can't get it to come up on my screen.
As is.
So, and Sandy, did you say second?
I'll second it, but I can't get it to come up either. I don't know
All
why.
right. And then with my motion and second, I have Councilman Destin up for discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. So make sure I understand this right. Those reductions will be only authorized in the off-season?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And if we wanted to come to the conclusion that perhaps we should make some changes during the season, what would be the mechanism? I guess we would initiate that, you would implement it?
Yes, sir. Be glad to.
Okay, well, since it is a reduction, at least during part of the year, I'll vote for it. But I think we need to change the structures of the pricing that is during the season when you're charging 15 or 20, whether you're there for 5 minutes or 5 hours. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's keeping people from using the parking lot. The only time I ever see them full is during a heavy holiday or a special event. Otherwise, people are not parking there very much. So we'll have that discussion before the season gets here.
Perfect, great points. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. Yeah, call it. Yep. Yes, yeah. Are you good? It's stuck? All right. All right, we're going to get a refund.
Trammell, yes.
I vote yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
All right, good deals. Ayes have it, 4-0, so moved. Back to you, Bossman Jones.
4C is the work authorization for half associates for the Crosstown Connector construction phase, or phase 2 for the CEI component. If you recall, half was awarded the entire contract earlier, but this simply engages them to move forward as the construction phase begins.
All right, with that, I have Councilwoman Trammell.
Mayor, I'll make the recommended motion to approve the work authorization 2 with half associates for the Phase 2 CEI of the Crosstown Connector project associated with RFQ 25-06-CD and direct the city manager to execute.
All right, thank you for saying that mouthful. With that, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
That was good. That was good. Motion and a second. With that, any discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it, so moved, 4-0.
Item 4D is regarding the annexation meets and bounds survey authorization. We were asked to bring this back at tonight's meeting. We do have a continuing service agreement with SAM companies that can provide the surveys required for the annexation, potential annexation. That fee is $110,000, and there's funding available to fund that if you so desire.
With that, if you guys have any questions, me and Dr. T made the map. A lot of fun, a lot of excitement. Out of all things, Regatta Bay was the most excited, so that was actually very surprising. Or Regatta Bay area, followed by the Commons Drive. But with that, I would implore you to please say yes. That's all I got. All right, I got Councilman
Second.
Destin with a motion, Councilwoman Hebert with a second. Any discussions, comments, thoughts, concerns? Oh, yes, sir.
Just want to make sure the meets and bounds included all the area that would have originally been from our old incorporation. It's the area that goes to the county line and to the water.
That's my understanding. That's correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir, it'll include everything to the Walton County line that is not currently incorporated.
Exactly what we're looking for.
Awesome, good deal. Hopefully we can close out what you guys started.
Yeah, well, it's been 40-some years.
Yeah, 42. All right, with that, we'll call the vote. All right, and my campaign begins. Can't wait to door knock every house in unincorporated Destin that allows for solicitation. Yeah. All right, moving along.
Next item is pretty much for information, but we are asking you to grant us the authority to continue down this process. But there's an organization called SwiftGov that we've been introduced to, and it's they developed a platform using artificial intelligence for planning and permit reviews. It's pretty exciting stuff. Andy and his team have met with them, and there's a number of jurisdictions that are using them now. And so we're trying to get ahead of this whole process. Again, not asking for to make any decisions tonight other than to continue the dialogue. But Andy will give you kind of a roll-up of what they're offering and what that looks like going forward. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Larry.
Andy, welcome to the floor.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Come on.
I want to make sure I come and just stand right here at the podium, just take a quick moment, a big deep breath, right? AI is coming. And so we want to get this in front of you just a little early because it's a little different than other technologies that we've seen in the past. We had the PC, we had the spreadsheet, we had the calculator, that kind of thing. This is a little different because it can simulate things like human perception, human judgment, that kind of thing. So we're letting it into our lives a little bit here. AI is already here. We've all been using it. All of the staff has access to the latest large language models. I used it to prepare tonight, so it's already kind of coming into our lives. We're using it for the clerk to do minutes, things like that. What we saw with this SwiftGov company is a platform where a planner will take the entire set of a plan submittal. So for a single-family home, that can be 60 documents in PDF form, whatever. They upload it to this thing, and the AI will crawl the documents and apply all of our code to it in just write down the list without ever getting tired, without being biased, without forgetting anything. It was pretty impressive. What I saw was it come back with a citation of the code it was applying, and then what it found on the documents, and then flag this as thumbs up, this is good, or, red, planner needs to check this. And then a planner would take those results and use it as a tool for finishing the permit and giving it to the developer or the customer. So that's a big change. It's a powerful tool for the developer, for the planner. We still have human in the loop on either side, but the reality is that if this thing is checking 300 items on each permit review, a planner's not going to go one by one and make sure the AI did the right thing. It's coming and it's collaborating with us on the process. So that's kind of what we can expect. So it was impressive. I thought we were 3 years away from this kind of technology, but it looks like it's here. What we would like tonight is just to make sure that you guys are on board with our direction. We got it to you early so we can discuss this. And we would like to pursue what SwiftGov could provide for us. That's what we're after. And I'm happy to answer any questions about what's coming.
Awesome. With that, Councilwoman Trammell.
Mayor, the oldest person on the council will make the recommendation to
I love it.
AI, right?
Tree hugger and
There's
technology
gotta be
for
something in there, right?
You can do it all.
All right. But I do have a question after I make the
Floor is
motion.
yours.
I move to direct the city manager to continue evaluation and negotiation of scope, pricing, and contract terms with SwiftGov AI, and further direct that the city attorney review any proposed agreement prior to the council consideration.
Second.
And with that, you continue.
And this is not really a question. This was just a request that I had of them when I had my briefing today. Many times we've gotten up here and we've said, why isn't code more proactive instead of reactive? And my request to them was, would they look into something similar to maybe code enforcement being involved in this? They could take a picture of a piece of property and it could go zap through all the codes and say it's violated, it hasn't violated, it does this, it hasn't done this. So then it would not be based on a referral type basis, a complaint basis. And they said they didn't know if there was any, so I just asked them to look into that. And I'd like that to be part of the motion, that they look into that to see if there is anything regarding code enforcement or code compliance that can be hooked up to this before they bring it back to us.
Awesome. Yeah. Sounds like a little bit of an amendment. Are you okay with that? So you just kind of sidecar that just for formality. Any discussion? Yes, sir. Hey, it's less government. Come on.
Yep. I have no problem with going forward to see what it could cost us and what it'll do. But I would caution all of us to not jump on a bandwagon with the first product that is just now being rolled out, because oftentimes it has a lot of glitches. And the other problem I have is that AI is used to replace people who work jobs traditionally. And there's something about that that just bothers me. I noticed the yearly maintenance on the more bells and whistles one is $210,000 a year, plus the initial installation cost of $100 and some thousand. $210,000 a year, we could hire 2 new planners. And if our goal is to cut the workforce and cut our labor, well, that's what this does. That's what it's touted to do. And I'm not sure I'm so comfortable with that. Who'll be next to get their head chopped off by AI? Us. Well, I'm not sure it could ever calculate what in the world we're thinking, but it concerns me that eventually there won't be a lot of people with a job. So we need to make sure we don't jump on some technology before it's ready, and we need to contemplate where we're going with it. So, but I don't have any problem with finding out what it would cost and what they say it can do.
Yep. Point taken. All right. Seeing nothing else, we have our motion and second. We'll call the vote. All right. Ayes have it 4-0. Great find, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
All right. Kim?
Thank you, Mayor. Just going back to the item 4D, the annexation meets and bounds, I think you all approved the contracting with SAM to do the study, but I don't think you read the second motion to approve the budget amendment, and our finance director will need that budget amendment.
Oh,
My bad, thank you.
thank you, Larry.
I'll make a motion to approve that budget amendment.
All right. Do I have a motion? Do we need a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussions on the budget amendment to make the meets and bounds work? Seeing none, we'll have Ray call the vote. It might be a little custom, so give him a second. All right, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I'm glad we caught that. All right, Dr. Jones, I think.
Item 4F are our capital project status report. 4G is the TDC monthly report. 4H is the operations financial report. And 4I are minutes of boards and committees. And we've already took 4J, so.
Yep, so we'll go to K.
At the wrap-up of today's BCC meeting that I think most of us here were there today.
All the ones in green. Sorry.
That there were some comments made by Commissioner Palmer, and I think he led that by, I wish they had stayed to hear these comments. Well, we're going to do him a favor, and we're going to indulge him, and we're going to play his comments for you. It's about a 5-minute clip that Andy's got teed up, so found it kind of interesting what he had to say at the end of the meeting. After we had left, correct? While he's working on that, we'll go ahead with some announcements if you like. I've sent y'all an email yesterday maybe that if you looked at the House and the Senate budgets, all 4 of our projects are in each of them. So keep your fingers crossed that they make it through committee and the governor will see favorable on them. So we were pleased that we'd gotten that far. So, and Dr. T, do you have any announcements?
I do have 2, thank you. The first was that the Destin Parks Foundation had a fundraiser Friday night, and Mayor Wagner mentioned it in his State of the City address, but over 85 people attended, and we want to say thank you to the local market for their support of the foundation. Local market donated the food. And you can find out more information if you're interested in what's going on, what their plans are, and what they're hoping to achieve at destinparksfoundation.org. And then only one other announcement. It's a happy one. The Nancy Weidenheimer Dog Park now has a little free library placed in it, and they put it in there February 3rd and stocked it full with love on Valentine's Day. So we encourage the community to go and check that out at the dog park and borrow a book. Thank you.
Want to go public hearings and yep.
All right, moving to public hearings. This is ordinance number 2605 LC, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, amending Article 8, Transportation of the Land Development Code, amending Section 80600 Vehicle and Parking Standards and Section 80900 Multimodal Transportation District, deleting Multimodal Transportation District MMT.
Very much appreciate hearing.
And replacing with parking standards for commercial, mixed-use, multifamily, and transit-oriented development, amending and removing parking reduction options, removing on-site parking maximums, removing alternative parking options as set forth herein, deleting map 8-4 multimodal transportation district map, providing for authority, providing for findings of fact, providing for incorporation into the land development code, providing for conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
With this being a public hearing for ordinance 2605 LC, if anyone wishes to speak on this, this is your time to do so. Seeing none, we'll close the public comments, and I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Trammell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve ordinance 26-05-LC on second reading. It says first on our notes. So that's
Good catch.
I'm just double making sure.
Nope, you're correct. Good catch. All right, I got a motion and I got a second. Any further discussions on this ordinance change? All right, being none, we'll call the vote and we'll put this one to bed. All right, ayes have it 4-0, so moved.
And I think Andy's got Commissioner Palmer.
All right, we'll
queued
go
up,
back
so if we
to
don't,
4K.
Back to the Holiday Isle State Park issue.
Thank you.
To do with the park in Destin. I think it's unfortunate that that things have gone the way that they have, where they feel like they need to come to a public meeting like this in order to be heard, because I feel like I've been trying to do everything that I can to reach out. And I apologize to this board for it coming to this point and kind of, hijacking our meeting a little bit. I very much appreciate hearing from the public, specifically when it's organic. I don't necessarily appreciate it when it's stirred up and when misinformation is out there. And one of the commenters said, I said that, they've been lied to, and they have been lied to, because I have been trying to work with the city and city staff and city council members since this first started, and in hopes to get to a better position than what we currently are. There's a couple of points that I really do want to make here, though. And Craig, I don't know if you know how many parking spaces there are currently at the end of Noriega Point.
I think there's approximately 40 or 50 of the new ones they put in.
40 or 50 new parking spaces, and those are owned by the city of Destin?
They're within the right of way, yes, sir.
And for the city of Destin, they generally charge for parking. What is that charge generally? I know that those spaces haven't been activated yet, but at what point? Yes. At some point they will be. What do they normally charge for?
So up the road, they have some parallel parking, and they charge approximately $20 for 4 hours of parking, up to 4 hours. Okay. And I know even on the 40 or 50, there's some that are called LSV or golf cart parking. So those wouldn't be your normal parking spaces. I don't know if they.
Oh, so even among those 50, yeah, because I thought it was like somewhere around.
Yeah, there's about 8 to 10 LSV parking.
Okay, and thank you for that. And the reason I bring those things up is because we have been asked to manage this park on behalf of the county and on behalf of the state. And, when we have county parks, the intent, I know we've explored parking and charging for parking, but we are not anticipating charging county residents for that parking. And the city of Destin has kind of the same thing, where in the city of Destin, if you're going to a city park, they do not charge city residents to park in those areas. And so I imagine those same parking spaces will be available to the city residents, but they wouldn't be available to residents from elsewhere in the county that would also like to visit this park that would become a county park. And so I think that's one important note to say, is that, when we're looking at doing improvements here, we're looking at improvements for the public. We've got about 230,000 people who we represent. They've got, 14,000 people that they represent in the city of Destin. And I think that when we're looking at these, competing priorities here, we have to step back and recognize that our impact is much larger than just those who may be vocal right now. And to that point, also, I want to point out that with those 35 parking spaces there, it's going to be a very, very low. If that's what remains, it's going to be a very, very low utilized park. And if I were a resident that were right next door to that, I might feel the same way, where I would be losing what, can be almost felt as a private park or a neighborhood park. This is not a private park. This is not a neighborhood park. We are using TDD dollars for this. It's going to be for tourism development, and it's also, it's with the anticipated impact of benefiting the entire county. And so I know that was a lot to listen to today, and I know that was a lot to deal with, but I just ask that you bear with us as we go through this process. The audience has cleared out, and so I was hoping that they would be here to hear some of this, but maybe they'll watch the whole thing over again. Doubt it. But either way, I think it's very important for us to consider that. I also wanted to say, they mentioned commercialization. We're not anticipating that. We're looking at these the marina as a public recreational marina, which would have potentially rental slips for these larger vessels that for which it's built, and they're calling that a big commercial operation. We know that there has to be some sort of marina services to be able to service that. We're not anticipating fuel docks. We're not anticipating that sort of large impact that they were talking about today. And, I would say they say there's no commercial activity allowed within Holiday Isle. And I would submit that they do allow short-term rentals, and that's what we're anticipating here for these docks. And so, I feel like there's a lot of bad information out there. And I would invite anybody that does watch this or does see this to please contact me. I have not turned down a single meeting. As I said before, all of the reaching has been one way, me to the city, to try to get them to meet with me. I have not thus far gotten, a lot of response to that as far as people wanting to float ideas. It's mostly been about leave it as a conservation area and tear down the docks. Both of those things we know can't really be true. As far as the conservation area, it's got a seawall on both sides. It's got, armoring. It's not a natural area as it is right now, and so I don't think that we can return it to a natural area. I don't think they would want us to tear all that stuff down and leave their harbor exposed. And so, anyways, I think those are important things for us to contemplate as we're going through this, especially as we've been, kind of through the ringer a little bit today. I think that it's important to kind of keep the perspective that what we're doing here is we're intending to have this be a world-class park that benefits all of Okaloosa County, and not just the neighbors that are closest to it. So thank you for that.
All right, and with that, thank you, Mr. Jones. Now you got 2 minutes at the end. You got another minute at the end there. All right, with that, there seems to be some back and forth between who's lying who. Ms. Kopp, you're our city attorney. You have a great depth of land development code. Could you just read off the development order first, and then I'll have a second follow-up question for you.
Sure, Mayor. It's really, really clear in the DO. So I'm going to go to Development Order 21-23. This is page 4 of 8. Now on this page, it's letter I. And first, I'm going to read to you the part in bold caps, okay? Because this is in bold and caps. Docking facilities are prohibited on the subject property, except as an ancillary use to the residential development authorized in DO 0917. That's the development order that approved the condo. No use of the docking facilities may be made, nor may a certificate of completion for the docking facilities be issued until such time as the city issues a certificate of occupancy for the previously approved multifamily residential development authorized by DO 0917. Now I'm going to read you J. This part's not in bold caps, but it goes into further whether slips are allowed to be rented, because if some people are confused as to whether that's commercial, I think this will answer that. Prohibited activities at docking facilities. The docking facilities authorized herein are authorized as long-term residential boat slips for use by residents of the Upland Condominium Development authorized by DO 0917 and their guests. Any commercial use of the docking facilities is expressly and strictly prohibited. Commercial uses include any non-residential use of the docking facilities. Additionally, vessels must depart, remain docked, and return to the docking facilities at a frequency and intensity common to residential uses. Excessive departures and arrivals by a vessel or group of vessels at the docking facilities may be deemed a commercial use and is subject to enforcement action by the city. And final part I'm going to read. Subleasing or renting of any boat slip or part of the docking facilities by any non-resident of the Upland residential development is considered a commercial use and is expressly prohibited. Nothing herein shall prohibit a lawful long-term tenant of the Upland residential development from occupying a boat slip with permission of the unit owner.
All right, thank you for that. That's about as local as we can get. My other question is now regarding the state. I've heard Mr. Commissioner Drew Palmer state 3 times now, one at his workshop the day before New Year's, one at the City Holiday Isle Association annual meeting, and then this morning. Do you have any recollection, knowledge, or documentation of the city, or the county being awarded any jurisdiction, definition, or in any way been awarded this parcel or this property? Because he's now said that 3 times in 3 different public portions, in 3 different public areas. And at this point, I'm assuming, if I take his words completely, that the county already owns this piece of land.
This land is owned by the state. Okaloosa County does not have any ownership interest. They don't have any lease yet. they wanted to enter into a lease potentially, at least the deputy county administrator indicated that he did. I don't think that's been to the BCC yet. And like Councilmember Bagby mentioned in his comments, the county does not have to enter into a lease. I'm aware of no agreement that is between the county and the state with regard to the property.
And then just, sorry for one more. When the state purchased the land, was there any deed restrictions, requirements, anything that would handcuff? There seems to be this notion that this is the rules because someone, we can't figure out who, someone's telling the county as a collective, it seems like, but maybe Drew as the ambassador for this deal, that there's nothing we can do. He seems to be on a listening tour with the answer being, well, it is how it is because the state said we have to do this. I don't know who at the state's telling them or what document he's referring to. That's what gets me very confused.
I don't know what document he'd be referring to because all I know about is a concept plan that I think was part of some application package that went to the state, but as I understand it, the state wasn't requiring any specific plan. It was just something that I think the seller put in the package for the state to consider, but I don't know of any requirement. There's certainly no deed restriction or anything in the contract that would require that plan or any other plan to be developed on the property. And I know the city manager has had some conversations with state officials as well, so if he knows of any definite plans, we can ask him as well. So, Larry?
No definite plans that I'm aware of. We've had, numerous conversations with different state folks from the governor's office for the Senate to the DEP.
Alan, I thought that was you.
Yeah. So nothing that I'm aware of has been decided. What appears that the county hangs their hat on was language that were in the packet that went to the cabinet for their approval, but immediately after it lists the county, it says in collaboration with the city of Destin's Noriega Park. So that's
The concept plan you're talking about?
that was the management plan that they
That
contemplated.
was the concept plan
Yeah,
that went.
yeah.
There's been no management plan approved.
Exactly, yeah, no management plan at all.
All right, thank you for the clarification. You hear someone say it 3 times in 3 different public settings, and he's wondering why people are confused. And
I mean, my understanding is that the state wants the city to be involved. That also was part, this is what Larry's talking about, that also was part of the package that went to the cabinet. It clearly said the property is bought for conservation and the county would be collaborating with the city if the county gets an interest in the property, which they don't currently have.
all right, thank you for that. Councilman Schmidt.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to say I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it this morning. I did watch and participated that way, and thank all of you all, and Kim and everybody did a fantastic job. I just wanted to note a few things, since I'm sure this will be watched and heard, but there was a public comment section like we have here, right? And so we're public, whether we're council members or city attorneys or staff members, we're still public. So they might not like it, but we have every right as citizens and public to go speak however we want. So hijacking a meeting, I think is a direct disrespect remark to public citizens coming to a public meeting and speaking. So we had every right to do that. So thank you all for doing that. I think it's very interesting, though, for those that don't know or haven't heard or been following, so much of this has started from months ago when we tried to collaborate with the county to discuss the future of this parcel. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but we wanted to do that with the citizens' input under the Sunshine Law to allow us to have open dialogue and collaboration about this parcel. And we're continued to be told no by the county officials. They did not want to have public meetings. They didn't want them. I don't know why. We can only speculate why. So collaboration has never been something that they've been doing with us. Mr. Palmer's right. He doesn't have any missed calls or missed emails from me. I have chosen not to be calling him in recent months. Honestly, county commissioners are paid. Those are paid positions.
98,000 a year, 92,000 a year, I think we heard today.
And we are plus benefits. We are.
And an assistant.
Not paid. And I'm not saying I can't have collaboration with county commissioners, but I have to pick and choose my time wisely. And there's some conversations that I'm not going to continue having with county commissioners when I've already been told earlier on in the conversation that this is what we are going to do, and you're just going to get over it in so many words. So I've chosen not to have continued conversations. But you can hear from the comments that Mr. Palmer was making, they have already decided that they're going to do this. They have already decided that we're not going to charge for parking. They have already decided that we're using TDD tourism money to make it a tourism-related park. Where's the collaboration if we didn't meet with them about any of that? So his own words are all the things that they are going to do. You know? So it's just hard to take anybody serious or to work in trust and partnership when they're already saying this, or he is already saying. I don't want to say they, because there's other commissioners that have said differently. You know, you can only take it what you hear from one's mouth. And he's admitting to all the things that they are going to do. The public hearing that he had at the town hall meeting in December, on December 30th, they had plans, conceptual plans that they created. They aren't final, we get it. But they did that all with none of our collaboration. The attorney and the city manager have tried to meet multiple times. They work for us, so we told them to go meet with them, collaborate. They don't want to. It's just disgusting, And you said it very good today about, family, right? Families have ups and downs, and you're not wrong with that. We fight, we're still family. And I believe that. And I believe that there's still great potential. And Mr. Osborne is not wrong. Partnership with the interlocal, the more you think about it, it is getting scary to have that. If that's the saving grace with us, maybe that's not the best idea, because next thing you know, it's gone. There's some truth to that, I think. And he brings up the recreation thing. And just for clarity, there's definitions about what the state calls recreation versus what the city calls, which is what the LDC, whatever, okay? The Tom, Dick, and Harry in the community, if you're going to transact money for that slip, you're doing a commercial activity. It's a business, okay? Whether the state calls it recreational, commercial, who gives a flying flip? It's a transaction of money happening at the park where we don't allow any of that garbage to happen. So he can talk about definitions all day long, and one last thing, I have yet to hear anybody from the entire county on Facebook, Nextdoor, whatever, talk about they want this thing. So he's right. The county's 200-something thousand people. I heard the mayor of Cinco Bayou get up today on public record and saying no. So it's not just the 14,000 of us in the city of Destin. Mary Esther getting up saying no. So he might need to take the plugs out of his ears and listen to the rest of the county telling him not to do this. So again, thank y'all for being there. Just thanks for letting me put that on the record.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Councilwoman Trammell.
I just had one question. I know several of you went to Tallahassee recently. In your conversations with all of our representatives up there, did any of our representatives tell you that Destin was out of the picture?
Not at all, no. Kim, Larry, and I met with our senators and our representatives. None of them seem to understand what Mr. Drew Palmer is trying to shove down our throats. That's not what they came. It was supposed to be, it's a conservation. It's just for the city.
Okay, and the second point that I noticed here was he was going to charge for boat slips and rental of boat slips, but he wasn't going to charge for cars. Okay, what's the difference? I don't get it, except that if he charged for cars, he'd probably have to share the money with us. If he charged for boats, he might not. But I thought Mr. Stevens brought up a good point. He was on the survey committee when we did the survey of the harbor, and it's already overcrowded. So now we're going to make this a transient slip for in and out for hours. So I just don't see how that can be environmentally safe for the harbor at all, let alone physically safe for any people from Okaloosa County. But anyway, that was just two of the things that I wanted to get clarification on and have on record. Thank you very much.
Yep, and that study that you're have brought up, that's Department of United States DEP Army Corps of Engineer. So that is the federal level. I don't think we can get any higher than that in terms of an engineering study to come up with that. So that's not a city thing. That is a federal Army Corps of Engineers. With that, Councilman Destin.
Thank you, Mayor. To say that Mr. Palmer's speech at the end of the meeting was a disappointment would be an understatement. It appears that he's not going to be real cooperative, in spite of the fact that he is our representative. But the bright side of what went on this morning is the other three people there came to the conclusion that they did need to work with us, it appeared. I was especially pleased with Ms. Ketchel. And so when I left, we were scheduled to be on their first meeting in March. Is that what happened?
We did, and that was also the chair as well. That was indicating we would be on the next meeting, which would be the first meeting in March for the interlocal. I think that's held in Crestview.
Yep. And so while I understand Mr. Osborne's point about not going the way of interlocal, for us to turn our back on that will show the state that we're not willing to cooperate. I'm not sure that's a step to take at this point, maybe at a later date. But this is, in my opinion, what we need to do in March. The state of Florida DEP, when we collaborated with them to build the Noriega Point Park, required and stipulated that that property be zoned as conservation. Now, as conservation, it didn't entail any of the things Mr. Palmer talked about, taking seawalls out and some of the other things that he was saying. It simply said it needed to be in a conservation zoning and that it had some restrictions on commercial activities. In order to take a step forward to try to further the creation of a park there, I think we need to offer to the county that we will rezone that property to conservation, which is exactly what DEP required us to do with Noriega. And I want to see who it is on that commission who says they are opposed to zoning that property as conservation. Judging by the comments we got from the other members, I think they would understand that that would be the right thing to do. The park that was built on the end of Noriega Point with the cooperation and actual money of DEP is one of the prettiest parks I've seen in this state, surely in our part of North Florida. That's what we want to do in cooperation with our friends at the county with the rest of the property. And I think that would be acceptable to the folks who live over there instead of the commercial enterprise that it appears Mr. Palmer is dead set on building. So I will make a motion. We don't have another meeting before them, or do we, Kim?
We have a meeting on that Monday and they meet Tuesday.
Well, put on the agenda that we will vote to, in collaboration with them, rezone that property to conservation, the same as Noriega Point Park. And that way we can cooperate with them to go forward to try to build the kind of park not just Destin wants, but all the citizens in the county want.
And I did want to point out that just because one commissioner did make those statements at the end of the meeting, I did not have the impression from any of the other commissioners that they did not want to hear from us. And in fact, one or more of them had reached out to me. Larry and I have also had conversations with John Hofstede and the county attorney in recent weeks as well. So I don't want those comments of one commissioner to reflect on the whole county, just for the record.
And I agree with that completely. The comments we got from the other attendees on the commission, I thought were quite positive. They all appeared to be ready to work with us. So we need to try to do that because one commissioner does not carry the vote.
I do have a motion, so do I have a second for
I'll
that
second that to put it on.
on the next meeting? Okay. All right, and now under discussion, I got Councilwoman Abear and then Trammell.
Do we need to vote for that?
If you're not, yeah, do you want to hold off on your top?
On my
Yeah,
comments
yeah.
or something else? Yeah, vote on this.
Ms.
I
Trammell?
just want to make a comment based on what we're looking
Yeah,
at to
please.
vote for next time. One of the things that I heard both in the December meeting and previous to that was the fact that their concept of what conservation meant was totally different than what ours is. So I think what I've heard Mr. Palmer say is that conservation can also have vendor activity. It can also have rentals. It can also have all of this under the state definition of conservation. So I'm thinking we might want to look back at what DEP told us when we went to Noriega Point about what exactly they're expecting and what that meant. So that needs to be clearly defined in what we talk about at our next meeting. That's just what I want to say.
We looked at that, and the management plan for Noriega Point provides that we will use the city's comp plan and the city's land development code for conservation. And so that is what we have on Noriega Point. So for example, in the city's conservation district, you can have boardwalks, you can have dune crossovers, you can actually have docks, but you can't have slips for rent or any commercial activity at those docks. So our comp plan and our code tells you what's allowed in conservation.
We just need to spell it out in our communication with them.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, I'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it 4-0, and we'll go back to the discussion. Councilwoman Abear?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to speak to the conversation that Commissioner Palmer had said, just as Kevin had spoke to. Yeah, I haven't reached out to him. After the meeting in December that he had with each of us on one-on-ones, and he let it be known that this is what we're going to do, y'all are kind of going to have to just take it and go with it. It felt like they had made their decision of what they were going to do, and they were not looking for our input. And at that point, I felt like it was a lost cause. Then after going to their meeting, the day, that between New Year's Eve, that last week of December, it was clear. So that's why I gave up on it. Didn't care. And so that's why I'm done with it.
All right, with that, I see nothing else on the board, and we will continue back into our public hearings B. Ms. Kopp.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 2528 LC, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, amending Table 7.2 of the Land Development Code, Table of Allowable Uses, to add coffee and tea manufacturing, NAIC 311920, as a conditional use within the industrial zoning district, providing for authority, providing for findings of fact, providing for incorporation into the Land Development Code, providing for conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading. This ordinance, if passed, would allow for coffee and tea manufacturing as a conditional use in the industrial zoning district. It is applicant initiated and was requested by someone who wants to propose this use in the district. If you do pass the ordinance, it would apply district-wide. However, any particular applicant would still have to come back to the council for review of the conditional use and approval or denial.
Awesome. And with that, seeing that this is a public hearing, I'll take public comments on ordinance 2528 LC at this time. If anyone wishes to speak, this is your time to do so. Seeing none, I'll close the public comments and entertain a motion.
I'll move that the city council approve the proposed LDC text amendment adding coffee and tea manufacturing as a conditional use within the industrial zoning district in Table 7.2, Table of Allowable Use of the Land Development Code.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Councilman Destin for discussion.
Yes, as some of you know, we had an operation like that on Mountain Drive for a while. Got lots and lots of complaints because of the smell. Some of this area in the industrial is near residential uses. What concerns me is if we pass this and it can be done anywhere in the industrial with conditions, then it may well put us back in a situation where people are very unhappy with the smell. Kim, I seem to remember a concept called spot zoning or zoning contract. In other words, are we allowed to enter into a zoning contract and just make a change for this particular piece?
No, but we're not asking you to do a zoning contract. This is just a LDC text amendment.
I'm looking for an alternative. I don't want.
No, well, how it would work is if you pass the ordinance, no applicant gets anything. It just means our code considers the use as conditional. So then any applicant would next have to actually formally apply for the conditional use and their development order and all the things they need to develop the property. That conditional use would come to council. At that point, you would receive all the information about the particular property, and you'd be able to evaluate it specifically for the conditional use and whether it's near residential, if there's any mitigation that can be done for anything noxious, smells, or whatever else, and you would be able to make that determination at the time. So that would be the closest thing, I think, to what you're looking for.
I understand. Of course, I think it's unlikely that someone's going to apply for a zoning change and then not come apply to take advantage of that zoning change. That's the object of applying for one. So tell me about the conditions on a conditional use. I mean, other than, are they anything we say they are? Or is there a criteria?
We do have criteria that's already in the code, and that is why it's not in the ordinance, because it's not new. But I can certainly pull it up and tell you what the criteria are. There are multiple criteria for conditional uses, and I know one of the abilities that the council has when it comes to those types of uses is to mitigate any impacts. So if you just let me get to 712, I will pull it up. Seriously. Okay. No, that's not it. Okay. So some of the criteria that council can look at include characteristics of the uses, traffic generation, floor area ratio, square footage, employment, off-street parking needs. There are criteria for on-site and off-site improvements and amenities. There are criteria for land use compatibility, including scale, intensity, again, traffic generation. There are conditions for proper use of mitigative techniques, like I mentioned earlier. There are conditions for hazardous waste. So as you can see, it kind of gives you the ability to look specifically at the property and determine if there are conditions that exist that would require something, more restrictive on the property than just saying it's a free-for-all.
Doesn't say anything about smell, does it?
It talks about mitigating impacts, so yes. Not specifically the word smell, but that would be considered an impact that could be mitigated.
Okay, well, this is first reading. I'd be interested to see what the folks who live around there think about this, should they understand what's happening.
Should I make a post?
Okay, of course, I don't know what place would be more appropriate than the industrial. So I'll vote yes on the first, and then we're going to have to think hard about second reading.
All right, good deal. Councilwoman Trammell.
Yes, I agree with everything you've said, but I'm having a hard time saying yes with this after we've already experienced the negative impacts. Personally, I would rather say no now than wait till a business comes up and us try to manage something going on. Already it's not even allowed. So if it's not allowed, we've had a bad experience with it. Why would we put a conditional use on it? So I don't think I'm going to support this tonight.
Councilwoman Aber.
I agree with both Dewey and Sandy. We had a business that the smell just was horrible for the neighbors there. They couldn't take it. It was just 24/7. It wasn't like there was like a certain time of the day that you smelled the coffee. It was just always. So I feel like we're just opening up that can of worms that we already put a lid on.
Councilman Schmidt?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but, and her complaints were valid. She had health issues, and that was the only complaints I recall about that situation off Mountain Drive. I will also say that the Mountain Drive facility, there was also a lot of potential concerns about how he was actually doing it. Was it actually validified and being done correctly, for what it's worth? So only other note I will mention is for those that live in Destin, this particular area, the industrial zoning district contains Destin water users. And on most days, especially depending on which way the direction of the wind is blowing, you will get a very interesting stench in that area. Well, it still happens. So it would be interesting to see where this is located, but, you know, a coffee smell might actually be a welcome of fresh air, possibly. So we'll see.
Unfortunately, it doesn't smell like coffee, does it?
Yeah, and I hear both sides to this. I would just say, you know, I think the industrial zone, if any, would give it at least an appropriate position where I think before, was it mixed use, North Mountain Drive? It was adjacent to the residential, so I can absolutely see where the contention of conflicting zoning abutting each other could really hurt each other from a quality of life. I would really like to just see what this would look like, especially from an industrial zone. But of course, it is up to you guys, but I think if there was a conditional use, it would be in the industrial zone. And to Councilman Schmidt's point, there's a couple other not so fragrant smelling things there. So perhaps, if any, maybe we don't want to add to it, but I do believe if it's the applicant that I talked to, they do live in Destin for whatever that's worth. And it seems that they are a very reputable distributor for some of the more chain-like restaurants. So they seem to really have not necessarily a small business mindset. They seem to be a little bit more manufacturing and a little bit more of a corporation mindset. So I would be interested to see what a corporate mitigation strategy would look like versus maybe a local brewing shop that we had experienced before. But outside of that, as always, the choice is yours, but that's where my 2 cents. I see no other discussions. All right, so with that, I'll call the vote. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alan. I need to do public comment. It's public hearing. Yeah, yep. Oopsie. Keeping me honest.
I'm going to help out Dewey, Sandy, and Teresa there. First of all, there's no commercial tea and coffee manufacturing because that stuff's grown. So what this is food processing because the manufacturing of it is the growing of it. Okay, so this is processing. And most towns have gone to where large food processing or any type of raw food processing is put to heavy industrial. And the reason is although we know we don't like the smell of poop, it's a little bit different because people don't claim food allergies to poop. When you have a food process and you put it airborne, if you expose anybody to a food allergy, so you see most heavy industrial, peanuts and all these other things, if it puts anything into the air, it ain't the smell that this bothers you. The first time it makes somebody sick and you've put that into the air around their residence, I think I would require an impact study that y'all don't pay for if somebody wants to come through, but this is food processing. It's not manufacturing. Manufacturing is where you create something from a raw material and you build it. This is built by nature and you're just processing, but the fact is that people have allergies to nuts, oils, coconut, coffee, tea, and these are not to me, they're not. I pour gasoline on me. I don't have a brake. But that's something that you can serious because you might set a precedence. As you said, we're only 7 square miles. When you have a town that has 50, you can have heavy industrial and probably nobody's living next to it. But in Destin, that will never be a luxury today. So I would, if I was going to oppose it, I would pose it from the fact of what does your code say about processing? And then what's the impact on the community from that? Because it may not just be bothersome to some people, it may be a health activity. And I forgot to earlier, but thank you for Threadgill. I coached there, and that parking sucked back in the day. So anyway, I think the nomenclature, because you could end up in court, is this isn't manufacturing, it's processing of food.
All right. Anyone else from the public comments wish to speak on this issue? All right. Seeing none, and we will open up the vote. I think it already is, so thank you so much. Oh. Well, it might die next time. We are got my 15th one, and this is number 15. We are voting yes for it. All right. Ayes have it 3-2. And
Can't see it because what's up?
oh yeah, get this our sunshine timer. I think that might be Ray's department.
We were waiting to see what happened.
All right. Well, you know, you got a second bite at the apple, and I probably won't vote next time. But until then, you guys at least know where I see on this argument.
Mayor,
All right.
can I make a comment?
Yeah, please, come on.
I just wanted you to know that this is not all about coffee manufacturing. There was a person back there that was using oil from restaurants to run his vehicles. And let me tell you, that smelled to high heaven, but it was allowed in industrial. And it was awful. It was just terrible. It was worse than the treatment plant untreated.
No, absolutely. Councilman Destin, do you have anything? I didn't know if you had anything as well. No. To comment? No.
Point out, this is first reading.
No, that's kind of where I started. I kind of
Yeah.
chuckled that they
If
said yes. I'm like, well.
Somebody doesn't come make a very strong case, and I still want to talk to Kim about contract zoning, so.
No,
we'll get that done
absolutely.
before the
And that's
next
kind of
meeting.
where I was coming from is, you know, if they're very serious, and they, at least from my phone call, they seem to be very serious of trying to be the utmost stewards of this commercial enterprise. Perhaps mitigation techniques and smell mitigations have advanced in 20 years or so, given a little bit more proximity in the zoning. I'd like to see a yes and if the and doesn't hold up, then it fails on second reading. So if you're watching tonight, they probably might be, seeing that this is their position. Please come join us at the next council meeting and convince your fellow leaders otherwise. With that, Ms. Kopp, we'll go on to 5C.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 2611CC, an ordinance of the City of Destin, Florida, amending Section 1486 relating to applications to City Council for reduction of existing code compliance liens, providing for authority, providing for findings of fact, providing for incorporation into the Code of Ordinances, providing for conflicting provisions, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading, but we did discuss at the last meeting your directive with regard to the code lien reduction process. Again, none of the criteria that currently exist in the code are being changed. This would just remove the chart that set forth the percentage maximums, and you'd be able to reduce liens from 0 to 100% if passed.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you, staff and all you guys for your work. With that, do I hear a motion? Oh, public, God dang. Killing myself tonight. All right, no public comments for you guys. All right, this is first reading of ordinance 2611CC. Seeing that this is a public hearing at this time, if anyone wishes to speak on this issue, this is your time to do so. All right, everyone said their piece. We'll close the public comments, and I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll move we approve ordinance 26-11-CC.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All right, ayes have it. So moved. 4-0. Oh man, we're already there. Comments by the council.
He's gone.
Councilman Braden, Councilman Trammell.
Yes, I'd just like to say thanks to Tamara and for those members of the council and the city that attended our Parks Foundation fundraiser this past Friday. The picture's over here. This is what we're trying to do.
I didn't even see that. I'm sorry.
We're taking the current existing pavilion, which was not included in the grant, at Clement Taylor Park, and we have some renderings to the history of why that pavilion was there, and that is the site of the first schoolhouse in Destin. So, well, anybody can go look at it, but we're just trying to raise funds to improve that particular pavilion so that we can pay homage to the first schoolhouse in Destin as part of the history of Destin. So I didn't want to get too involved in it.
Now I feel like we're in DC. Here's your holding up the board behind whoever's yapping.
You can see the rendering here, and we are taking money. As many of you may know, Morgan Sports Center was built on philanthropy, not necessarily city money. The dog park was half philanthropy, half city. So we've done a lot of philanthropy here in this town to preserve what we really want to preserve. So if you'd like to help us out with this project, go to DestinParksFoundation.org, and there's a donation button there. Or we're selling bricks to put around the base of these columns, and we'll get that information out shortly. Secondly, I would like to speak to Mr. Fitzpatrick because I live on your neighborhood, and I have lived there since that was a dirt road. So I've been there a long time, and I'll be glad to talk to you about the drainage issue. I'm sorry I was not here last meeting. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you for that. Councilman Dustin.
Thank you, Mayor, and that was the other subject I wanted to ask the staff where we are. The gentleman's been here 2 meetings now, and I was also here when that was a dirt road, and I remember all the difficulties we've had with the drainage from the very beginning, where developers would put the drainage in, and of course, the city would accept it, but it didn't work. And we actually spent $200,000 or $300,000, maybe more, about 20 years ago, maybe more than that, trying to fix it one time. And, you know, I'd like to know a status of where we are on this drainage. It looks like it absolutely is going through his yard and out where there's no easement that I know of, although when the developers built it, I'm sure they told us they had an easement there. So where are we on this, staff?
We did a lot of research on this property from our engineering folks, and there's historic flow that goes, there were some documents back to the early 1930s through 1950s that showed this was the drainage, historical flow of the drainage in that basin. We had a great meeting with Mr. Fitzpatrick, very cordial meeting. We explained that that was the city's position to this point, was that that's where the water has fallen historically. Yes, there were some drainage structures put in under the road at some point when the road was built, but there, best we can tell, there is not a recorded easement, but due to, we presented some facts from court cases, from statute that says historic flow has to be maintained. And so it was our opinion and the opinion of our engineering staff that that's the situation there. It is the point of relief for that whole drainage basin and has been for many, many years. So that was the conversation we had with Mr. Fitzpatrick. I did speak to him earlier this evening and told him that if we went, if B was the direction we had, we would certainly work with him from a staff position to help, facilitate moving, his permits forward and helping in any way we can. But that was our position. We certainly take guidance from council. If you have
I know that we have in fact applied for grants for stormwater mitigation and gotten quite a few. Down at the end of, not beach, but where the Army rest camp is, we had to fix all of that drainage once already. So my question is, are there grants available and can we assist by applying for grants, because this is a stormwater issue?
We can certainly check into that, and if there are some indeed available, we would certainly make an application for them.
And can we also come to some kind of conclusion of what it would take to mitigate this issue? In other words, what can we do and what would it cost? So we'll know what kind of a grant we need to apply for.
We'll get our engineering staff to take a look at that.
All right, and you say you'll do it. I won't bother to make a motion, but
That'll be fine.
we need to see what we can do to help this gentleman.
Yes, sir.
And then with that, Councilman Schmidt, do you have a comment on this?
No, just ditto Mr. Destin there, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
All right. Councilwoman Aber?
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you. I appreciate both of you bringing this up about Mr. Fitzpatrick. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I hadn't heard about this. So when I saw this tonight, and I really don't want this to be something that it takes the staff 2 or 3 weeks to figure out, because we're going to have rain, and so this is a problem. And he's obviously trying to get an answer whether if we're going to do something. If we're not, we need to let him do something, and we need to push his permits through fast so that something can be done sooner rather than later. So like Dewey said, I know we're not making a motion to make this happen, but I would say we need to do this expediently. Jeff, check into grants, find out, tomorrow if there's anything, so we're not waiting 2 or 3 days to tell him, yeah, I didn't see anything out there, or this isn't going to fall into it because of the size or the scope or wherever it's at. Try and help this gentleman get this taken care of sooner rather than later, because he's obviously already had to wait 2 weeks because of the last meeting when he brought it to us, which some of us weren't at. So, and then beside that, the other thing I wanted to speak to was thank you to the team here and the mayor at the BOCC meeting today. I felt like we were there, well represented, and I feel like being there made a difference with the other commissioners, because I too felt like it made a difference, because I don't think they understood how much disinformation and how much Commissioner Palmer is saying one thing and something else is coming out when he's dealing with each of us one-on-one. So I just feel like we might have a better chance with all the commissioners realizing this is something we want to do as a team. We want to work together and get this done. And like I said, that's my thoughts on that whole day today. Thanks.
Well taken. Councilman Schmidt?
Yes, sir. A few things. Speaking TDC, for what it's worth, I know these two aren't here, 3. I have requested a TDC representative, Ms. Adams, to come to the city council meeting multiple times. It got busy, so they weren't able to make it yet. We have followed up about them coming. So I know some people have been asking me a lot about getting them to come. They're still not on our calendar yet, but we've continued to try, right? I want to say, again, I think Dr. T sent out the invite, but I will also please to extend a personal invite to the opening day celebration on March 7th. I know we have some grandkids possibly involved as well. If you haven't seen yet what the public, can we say public-private partnership? Is that a public-private partnership? Public-public. What is happening up there with the work of the City Parks and Recreation Department, the Public Works Department, the City of Destin, the Destin Little League, and community members is being a world-class facility if you haven't been by yet. And it will blow the socks off of you when you do come. So I hope you can make it on March 7th, 10 a.m., because we would love to recognize everybody. Staff members have been invited too, but if y'all can make it, definitely try to come by around 10 a.m. that day.
Do you have a bus to get us there?
So, it's funny you say that. We really do try to mitigate all of that. We have a shuttle system from Destin Elementary School where the parade is going, but we also ask people to park. So we utilize Destin Harbor haulers to do a shuttle system between there and the park. Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to let you know I would love to have been there, but I've already committed to a United Way fundraising function that morning at 10 a.m.
You still can come by anytime.
What time?
That's 10 a.m., but we'll be there all day.
I'll be there afterwards then.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up Mr. Buckingham brought up the Destin Elementary School situation. And I spoke to him, and I've spoken to many other parents too. That was me that led that charge, so I will take blame, credit, whatever you want to call it. I guess I'm the champion or the legislative sponsor or whatever. We're trying to make it a safer place for people to park, trying to make it a safer place for people to drive. There was complaints coming in, not only about speed, but about illegal U-turns from the people that are parking, but then are doing 5-point turns to get the opposite direction instead of just go. So he's not wrong. It'd be nice if people could park there and just walk their kids in. There are options. People can go through the car line. People can park at the church on beach. They can walk. There's a lot of options. So I don't discredit what Mr. Buckingham and some of the other parents that are upset are saying. So sure, if there's future ideas that we can maybe talk about paving parallel spots, I mean, maybe that's an option. But at this point, in my opinion, there was safety concerns. We put signs up, staff put signs up, said don't park here. Well, guess what? People didn't read the signs. So, you have to just keep taking it to the next level. And right now, I believe it's posts and rope that looks nice. Yeah. I mean, it does look nice. And if there's other options, I'm open to hear others' opinions at a later time, whenever. But I do think when they open up the new section, that new beach drive will be the new pickup drop-off area, which then would lead to the entire Kelly Street side, I'm just assuming, being open parking without a car line in there.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's right, it's temporary, but, this is what we got right now, I think. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that's Kevin Schmidt that did that. So it's okay. And, thank you all for the support of the Calhoun property. And I know others aren't here. And I know it's only one hurdle, but with everything that we've talked about over the years in this council and in the city vision sessions, acquiring additional land that's already attached to our park is something that I think we've all talked about is a good thing to do. And so I hope that it can pass the next hurdles, but I think we did a good thing tonight by doing that. So thank you all very much. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There was something, thank you, Mayor, I wanted to say. For all those that emailed us, asking us to push forward the Threadgill parking option for that piece of property, it does make a difference when you email us. It does make a difference when you get involved and ask us to help you get something accomplished. So those of you that are watching online or listening online, I got the 97 emails, and it definitely made me push forward tonight and find out that we did have the money, and it does make sense, and it's the right thing to do. So if you can't be here, let us know what you want, because we can definitely help you, because that's what we're here for, is to support you, our citizens.
What, you said you listened to the constituents?
I do.
Oh, man, what a concept. What a noble concept. Quit hijacking my meeting. All right. One thing on the post, and did we get a cost of what? I know it's probably just something that we put together. The post and rope over there at Kelly. I know it's probably just, I'm coming out of left field here, so I don't expect a real answer. Where I'm walking this is, it looks nice. And I would love to see something like that over at Crystal Beach. Just put under my name for next meeting. But if you go down there, we have probably about 30 no parking signs, tow away zone. And it just, it looked so much nicer than like 40, 30 metal signs saying tow away zone every 20 feet, because technically that's what the sheriffs need to enforce it. I know we're just asking you to look under another rock for funding, but that is where I went with that conversation. So, yeah, some kind of nautical theme versus every 20 feet, don't park here or we're going to tow your butt. That would be amazing. Other than that, Mr. Fitzpatrick, thank you for not only bringing a issue, but a solution. I am not an engineer, and so I apologize. No, I don't apologize. I appreciate learning while we learned at the staff level. I showed up really because I knew I'm not a voter body up here, but I really actually just was curious how we handle things and how this water mitigation thing works, just for a better breadth of my knowledge. So thank you for not only bringing a concern, but bringing a plethora of options and considerations. So I just want to say thank you for being a good partner and a good steward and a good citizen with us, and as you work through us with this. So I want to say that. Other than that, I couldn't be more proud of this team, the city. Who knew we just needed a good issue for all of us to rally behind, to really be Team Destin. So thank you for everyone who participated. We are just beginning. I'm sure there will be letters to Congress and letters to the State House and Senate. And so this was just the very first of many proactive and reactive public engagements with our our county commissioners. So just thank you, everyone, for collaborating and making that happen this morning. I think the county commissioners were probably, no, I won't go there. Otherwise, we'll go on to Kim. We'll leave it on a good note. Oh, Councilman Destin.
One comment on putting things in the road right away to keep people from parking. Our city right-of-way protection ordinance prohibits putting objects in the right-of-way that are not frangible. So we need to at least make sure that we're not putting things out there that violate our own ordinance. And I would caution the staff to look at that issue and to remember that the only way this council can take an action is through a motion. So.
I just have to put it on my name for next.
And you can.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we don't violate our own ordinance.
Oh, yeah, no worries. No, I'm not trying to be a councilman. I'd run for it if I wanted it.
Oh, and maybe you should.
No, I like this position.
You like that one better?
I want to be the rah-rah. You guys bring the knowledge.
Thanks.
All right, with that, Ms. Cobb. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Thank you, Mayor. I have 2 executive sessions to call tonight. I know there's only one on the agenda, but a subsequent matter needs to go to council, and that just arose on Friday after publication of the agenda. So I'll announce them both, but there is going to be a decision for council, and that is whether to have both of them on the same night. We could have them both on March 2nd, one at 5:30 and one at 5:45 with the regular meeting to start at 6. Of course, if anything goes over, it's okay. It will just push each one back. We can do it that way, or we can have one at the first meeting in March and one at the second meeting.
All right, anyone have
I propose like 5:15.
That's option 2.
I think I would like to have them at the same time because we have to get all of our
Court reporter.
outside people
Yeah.
involved into that too, and they would only have to come one night.
I agree.
So
The clerk and
5:15
everything.
5:15 and 5:45?
Yep.
Okay, all right, then I will announce them that way.
March 2nd.
So the first one is a call for an executive session pursuant to Section 286.0118 Florida statutes. I desire the advice of the City Council in the case of Christopher Ross Mercurio versus City of Destin, 2022 CA 3170 in the Circuit Court of Okaloosa County, Florida. I am calling for an executive session to be held in the City Council chambers at the Destin City Hall Annex, 4100 Indian Bayou Trail, Destin, Florida 32541 on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 5:15 p.m. Central or as soon thereafter as the issue may be heard. The second executive session, pursuant to Section 286.0118 Florida statutes, I desire the advice of the Destin City Council in the case of Carissa Harbarger, Rainbow Frost Ice Cream Incorporated, Ronald Ellison and William Ellison versus City of Destin. That is in the U.S. District Court, Northern District of Florida, Pensacola Division, case number 325CV00550, MCRZCB. I am calling for this executive session to also be held in the City Council chambers at the Destin City Hall Annex, 4100 Indian Bayou Trail, Destin, Florida 32541 on Monday, March 2nd, 2026, this one at 5:45 p.m. Central or as soon thereafter as the issue may be heard. Present at both of these executive sessions will be the same group: a court reporter, Mayor Bobby Wagner, City Council members Kevin Schmidt, Tori Guile, Teresa Hebert, Jim Bagby, Dewey Destin, Sandy Trammell, and Rodney Braden, City Manager Larry Jones, Litigation Counsel William Warner, and myself, Kimberly Romano-Cobb. Thank you, Council.
All right, thank you for that. And with that, I see nothing from the council. Public comments, second bite at the apple.
Just want to make sure everyone knows that that special evening, we need to have a birthday cake because Tamara's going to be here along down her birthday. It's her birthday.
All right, public comments. Yes, sir. There better be crab cakes left, is all I got to say.
They are going.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Just push the button and the floor is yours.
Go
For the record, Alan Osborne. One comment I want to let you know. I was recently in a court case in October, and the judge, and Larry's called me an expert before, I'm very involved in land use, and the judge told me, and all the lawyers in there at the end of the case, that he considered me to know more about that than anybody in there. And I've got that on the record. So I will tell you this. Somebody asked me to look into this gentleman's situation or whether I could take a position on it legally. And I will tell you, my opinion is that this man didn't cause it, but he's the receiver of a few sins of the past that we don't know about. So I would encourage you guys to work with him, because he certainly didn't cause this situation. And I have read the topographical maps back to the 30s. He wants to give you a good solution. He doesn't want water pollution. He wants you to work with him. Work with him so y'all don't end up in litigation. The second thing is I want to go back to the meeting today. I disagree with you, Dewey. Once you're interlocal, you're done. You're never going to renegotiate that, and we're done. I think you have the strength, and I think you have the momentum, and I think you have the facts. Mr. Palmer lied. If you're watching Drew, I'm glad to debate you anywhere, and you didn't answer my email. Okay, so also I sent him a video of what he did wrong. So I'll send him one today, too. I'll make one for y'all. But I would tell you, stand tall. You don't go back and renegotiate after the boxing match is over, because you're going to lose. And let me ask you this. Everybody raise your hand that thinks that that piece of property is beachfront on the Gulf of Mexico. Y'all live in Destin. So right off, the county lied. That's the first paragraph they wrote, the state of Florida. I have a public records request I did through a lawyer and me, and I have all the documents. There is nothing that says that they're in charge of it. There's nothing that says he is. And they self-appointed themselves to go work with Guidry. These things on there, and he took a $6,000 donation from him. Aw. So, listen, he ain't got nothing. Drew, you ain't got nothing. If you'll keep it up, I'm going to run against you. So, stand tall. I know what y'all did your motion. You ought to take your public comment in the middle of the motion, because what if one of us knows something that you didn't think about? Maybe you should change your policy. Don't you want to hear it right then, if we got something that matters? But like I said, work with this fella. Great job on Threadgill, but you're too weak on that. Don't make that motion with three of them not here. Come after them. Sometimes when you're in a fight, you know you're going to win. It don't matter. But he has taken the wrong position. Listen, the Constitution is important. The grassroots of this country will either be saved by us, the people, because it won't be a damn politician at the state or government or federal level that saves us. It will be people. Remember, the militia saved America and started it. It wasn't politicians. We didn't have any. So, I'm a tree-hugging person too, even though I'm a Republican. So I'm all about water quality. So I'll support you on any of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Councilman Destin, you have something?
I was just going to say the motion was to bring that issue back to the next meeting. Mr. Osborne will have his opportunity.
I misunderstood.
Yep. No, we didn't vote except to bring it back.
There you go. There you go. Let them have it.
And an interlocal is a contract and would all be bound within it.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir.
Just one quick comment. I know everybody's trying to get out of here.
Yeah, no
One
worries.
is I appreciate, council's attention to this matter already thus far. Just for the record, I've held that property for 4 years and only have come to investigate that over the last 6 months and understanding actually what's happening to the property. Councilman Destin, I've gone back to the 1980s through Destin's public archives, recognizing your name and all the discussions and the development of Indian Trail Estates, route the water here. Discussion of Indian Woods, route the water here. The acquisition of the airport property, 3.37 acres purchased by the county. Where's that water going? Directly onto my parcel. I showed you clearly in an image. There's nowhere else for that water to go. So I appreciate your appreciation. We appreciate that. Yeah. So thank you very much for everybody's attention, and I look forward to a quick resolution so we can put that behind me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Carrie Harbarger, 307 Mountain Drive. So I'm going to make a comment about that lawsuit, and I understand, but I'm going to say...
Just make sure that mediation is confidential.
I understand that, and let me just say that I wouldn't be here for the most unbelievable way that my city handled code compliance. And I'm on a gag order because it's the most egregious, unfair thing that has happened to me. So while you guys are going to vote on it on March 2nd, I'm sorry, I got bullied. I'm going to say I got bullied. It's the done deal, but it doesn't solve anything because you see once the ice cream war is over. Well, why didn't the city act before the ice cream wars got stupid? Well, let me tell you what's not going to happen. Come March 2nd, when you guys sit in your whatever you got going on I'm upset because I've been sitting here all day waiting for this to go down. So it does not solve the issue of what's going to go on the beach this summer. Nothing is resolved. That case isn't even going to go in front of a judge until 2027. So I'm sitting out another season because nobody addressed the issue of what really got us here today. So if you're asking council not to approve, I'm not asking council not to approve anything.
It is not a done deal. It is not a done deal.
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying it's not about the deal. It's about the future. We didn't resolve anything. I'm going to settle with you guys, and there's no good faith here because what's going to go down this summer is the same crap that's been going down for 2 years. Nothing's changing except for we're settling. You guys powdered my little booty right on down the road and out-lawyered me with my taxpayer money. That's exactly what happened. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yo, yes, ma'am. You guys got to hire lawyers at my taxpayer expense. That's exactly what happened. Am I right or wrong? Am I stupid? You guys hired lawyers. I showed up everything I went to. I showed up with a fleet of attorneys, 5 attorneys.
Ma'am, I'm going to warn you that there's state laws about mediation that the mediator described to you at the beginning, which talked about...
No, I'm talking about every issue I've dealt with the city.
I don't think this is appropriate, first of all. Second of all, I think we tried really hard to work with you. I'm going to leave it at that because that's all I can say right now.
We didn't resolve the issue, Kim.
And third, there is other litigation pending where the city is actually suing the other vendors. Okay?
Well, that's a year away, though. So what happens this year? This season, we're all in the same boat?
That one is going forward. That one is not stopped.
I understand that, but we're all in the same boat this year. Y'all, I gave up 3 seasons of income, and I can't talk about I get the gag order, but nothing is resolved. We are going to walk in, because this is what I'm told. Well, the city wants this resolved. The city's tired of the ice cream wars. Well, I am too, but nothing's resolved. We're walking into March, gonna have ice cream wars, guys. I'm just gonna forewarn you. They're gonna be on that beach. Am I right or wrong? Kim, help me out. Am I right or wrong? They have another year on the beach.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Definitely wrong.
Definitely wrong. Mm-hmm. Tell me how I'm wrong.
Can we do that off? If you could wrap that up for a couple of comments, I'm sure the attorney will engage you after if you want to talk detail, but if there's anything in addition, I'm giving you a couple extra minutes, but I want to go back and forth.
It's not that I don't want to settle, I do, but I feel like we didn't resolve the future issues. We're still going to fight this year. And it was very clear to me through the mediator, they want this resolved. I do too, but it's not going to be resolved if I step out, if we go out there in March and all that drama is still going on. And then I had made recommendations that the council perhaps do what other municipalities, and I want to say one thing about Kim. She has been truly the only person that has worked the hardest to get the city out of this situation. I'm just going to say that right now. Nobody has not worked. She's come her staff has been unbelievably why do we have a city attorney? We don't listen to her. Nobody listens to her. She'd have ended this drama a year and a half ago, but nobody listened to her. So I'm sorry if I aggravated you, because she's been the only driving force to try to make this go away. But what's not going away is come March, you're going to have 11 carts on the beach again. Unless I don't know something, then I'm wrong and I apologize. But this issue's not going to doesn't even go in front of a judge until 2027.
All right, with that, thank you for your public comments.
That's it?
I gave you
We're
5
not
minutes.
going to resolve it then?
I gave you 5 minutes. I gave you almost double. I appreciate the passion. I can empathize.
You're kidding me. So this all came down to 3 minutes?
Yep.
Yes, and I give you 5. I mean, you can engage us all individually.
You can sit down and I'll respond to council based on your comments. I'll respond.
On the future for this 2026 season.
I'll respond to council.
That's what I'm wanting, is a response to the 2026 season.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
So, mediations are confidential. We're not going to be able to talk about what was discussed in there under state law. It's not a city gag order. That is the state law
take it up with the state legislature. But we certainly don't walk out of mediations, I will say, unless we believe both parties are wanting to enter into an agreement. And if they're not, then we shouldn't do that. But we can talk about that another day. As far as enforcement on the beach, the city intends to fully enforce the city codes. We are in litigation over it. We have sued the other vendors. I believe that all of them have committed to us that they won't be back other than one entity, which is certainly different than prior years. With the remaining entity, that's the one that we will be continuing to proceed in the litigation with. I don't know the exact date that it will go before a judge yet, but we're certainly proceeding in that litigation. There's nothing paused, and we're moving forward. So with that, all I can say is code compliance will be enforcing the code until a judge tells us otherwise. And that's where we're at. And if we're done with that issue, one other piece of litigation, I've sent you emails about it, but we did file the motion for summary judgment in the Marlar foreclosure case. We have about 40 to 50 days before we can proceed on that. That's under state law too, so we'll keep you posted on that one as well. Thanks.
What about his front yard that got all messy again?
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't we have code like saying put it behind the fence, and now it's all back out on the street again?
Are you asking for a staff?
I'm asking for staff report. Is code now enforcing that they're in the right of way with all of his appliances, trailer, all the junk that used to be behind the fence has now crept back out onto the street?
Yes, to the degree we can. It's not pretty. We go site, we foreclose, and we certainly will continue those efforts. I wish I could give you a better answer and say we could go make it go away tomorrow.
And remember, that property is homestead. So we're not going to be, that property is not going to be sold at a foreclosure auction. Yeah. We can only get the adjacent non-homestead property at that sale. So that the only property subject to that foreclosure is the vacant parcel, which does not, to my knowledge, currently have access. So we're going to have to deal with that issue if we end up with that property, but we'll get there.
With it, so the day-to-day special magistrate fee is on his homestead property as well, even though we can't foreclose on it?
Correct. So it's continuing to accrue today. It's still going at the same daily fine every day because he is not in compliance. He's never been found in compliance, and so that's why that lien is still accruing.
Gotcha. And to a discussion we had earlier, I don't know the family history, and chime in if it's just I'm assuming what would happen is once the man passes away or moves on or whatever, once it's non-homesteaded or if it's then transferred, then we could take action for the lien. I just don't want to get like this idea of like a pity sob story of the inheritance person coming in and, oh God, well, it wasn't me.
No, when we foreclose the lien will be gone.
Okay.
The lien will be extinguished.
Okay.
Now, that is for the other property. If this property remains out of compliance, the city can bring a new case. So he still has incentive to clean the property anytime.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
I just had a question. How often are we notifying of that lien?
Notifying him?
Yes.
That would be a question for staff.
Or the family.
Staff, how often are we notifying for that lien?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can look into it. I know that the code compliance manager under Dave has been out there as recently as last week. He was out there the day I filed the motion and a week before. So I know he's out there, and if he sees the property owner, he will certainly talk with him. However, I will say I don't have, for most property owners in the city, I have an email or a way of contacting them, and I do not have that with this particular property owner. In fact, even in the lawsuit, most things are served via email. With this, we are using U.S. Postal Service. So. Okay.
All right. Any other public comments? All right, seeing none, motion adjourned, or not motion adjourned, meeting adjourned.